Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we've got some more NBA best bets here as we finally get this big slate in the NBA on Wednesday with 12 games after a couple of small ones in a row. Still did really well on those, on these best bets, as well as the play of props, which we swept last night. So go ahead and like and subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along and check each of those videos out each and every weekday. Also want you to head to thelines.com. Use everything that we're putting up on the site right now, including that odds finder tool we tell you about every morning. Drop down that NBA menu tab on the website and go ahead and use that odds finder tool. Make sure you're getting the best juice available to you from all these books that are giving us bets this NBA season. Nate, let's go ahead and run right into your first best bet for tonight.
Yeah, I guess it's both of our first best bets here because we see the Pelicans open as a pick'em at the Golden State Warriors, and we're both on the Pels here. I mean, no reason not to. It's a far superior team against the Warriors who have Draymond back now, but he's going to need a couple games to ramp up. CP3 is ruled out. Gary Payton II is still out. And Zion's questionable for the Pelicans. I don't really mind him sitting in this matchup. Like, he's a negative defensively at this point. Would love if Jose Alvarado is able to play through non-COVID illness and hound Steph Curry a little bit, because really the only concern, the only reason that we've seen the Pels lose 3 straight to this Warriors team is because Steph has just gone off, just like incredible games. In his last 5, he's averaging 36 a game against the Pels. The Pels are, he's able to exploit what they do defensively, which is they give up 3-point attempts. They give up assisted field goals, and that's kind of why Golden State has had some success here. But I just think this is a new day for the Pels. Like, obviously they're playing very well in their last 6. Their only loss against a Clippers team that's actually hotter than them, the only team maybe in the West hotter than them right now. But they're still allowing a league low 103 per game, number 1 field goal percentage, number 4 3-point percentage, which is key here, number 2 fast break points allowed, 5th in paint points allowed, and they do have a high turnover rate on the season, which you need to get the Warriors, turning the ball over and not clicking on offense, which they're simply not. I mean, you're going to talk more about the chemistry, I'm sure, but they're particularly vulnerable on the wing, right? I mean, there's small forward with Andrew Wiggins just MIA all season. Like, they just don't have that wing stopper to deal with guys like Ingram and Herb Jones and Trey Murphy that are going to be coming at you in waves here. And that's why it doesn't necessarily matter if Zion's out. If he's in, great. Like, they're probably going to just outscore the Warriors at this point. Warriors are 3-11 straight up as dogs, 8-16 on equal rest for what it's worth. But like, recently 2-4 on this homestand with a 126 defensive rating, and Steph has not been the world beater they need him to be. He has a 110 offensive rating, scoring 23 a game during that stretch. So I'll take the Pels here to stay hot.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the same thing. Honestly, I've had a hectic morning. I'll be completely honest with everyone. So it's tough for me to gauge what Nate had after dealing with some stuff. But more importantly for this video, I'm just going to run right into what I'm saying. And what I'm saying does have a little bit more to do with fade the Warriors than it even does ride with the Pels. Although, look, the Pels, if you take the up and down, if you sort of just take the mean of it all, right, and you don't worry about the fluctuations in them, they're an above average team in the league, and they should be a top 6 seed in the West. With that said, the Zion stuff is very interesting. Like you said, they're worse on the floor with him defensively. The spacing, you can make the argument, is better without him, although he and BI have had a much better 2-man lineups net rating this season. But this one really comes down to teams finally started doubling Steph. Just get the ball out of his hands. It wasn't an option for 8 years, 9 years, because if you took the ball out of his hands at half court, then now you have Draymond Green with a 4-on-3, one of the best dudes at running that, with guys like Iggy or even Wiggins at times in the dunker spot, and then shooters all over the floor, right? Like Rick Ross says, he's got shooters all over the gym. But now he doesn't have shooters all over the gym. He has slashers all over the gym, and that's not really tailor-made for his game. So he's been double-teamed. If you look at there's some really good stuff on cleaning the glass as well as dunks and threes. You can look at some of the double team stuff, and he's been getting double teamed at a rate of the 95th percentile. So very few players are getting double teamed more than Steph over the last 15 games. And Draymond's missed 13, so whatever you want to do with that, it's 13, 15 games, pretty much same thing. And as a result of that, even his on-off stuff isn't even that good. The bench has actually brought them back in this homestand more so than even Steph has, other than the 2 games where he went bananas with points against the Magic and one other squads, the Wizards. So with that in mind, like I don't know, I don't love having to bet on this Pelly's team consistently, but this is a good spot where I think that the offense for the Pels is really going to be the biggest problem for this Warriors team. They've had to make the decision of late if they to put Looney and Trace Jackson Davis on the floor at the same time. That has not worked out. That 2-man lineup has a net rating of -7 over their last 6 games. So yeah, I just there's not much here, man. As soon as I saw this spread so low, I was like, all right, we still haven't caught up. We're still worried about the books. Now, look, if you want to do like a little bit of a hedge to this bet, take Steph to get 30. I think that's a decent hedge for this one because I don't think he's getting the rebounds or assists with this long, rangy defense for the Pelicans. We've seen that be the struggle for him in terms of getting rebounds and assists, not the struggle when it comes to scoring, because you can't really stop someone from shooting from 30 feet away. They're going to be open from 30 feet no matter what you do. So Steph is a guy, if he's going to go 5 of 11 from 3, 7 of 14 from 3, something like that, which is all in the realm of possibility because we've seen him do it against the Pels a lot. Then I don't really want to like have to touch that. But I think if you, like I said, a little bit of a hedge against like maybe Steph just drags this team to a victory and the Pels play like absolute dog crap, then I think Steph to get 30 is a decent hedge to that.
Yeah, I mean the Pelicans aren't the most consistent team before this 6 game stretch, so I mean it's not like a huge fire 1.5 units on this just because we're
Yeah.
agreeing, but like yeah, I mean Draymond coming back is not necessarily an emotional lift, right? It's an emotional complication. Like that he's back, and we don't know like how exactly the locker room is reacting to that. We do know CP3 being out is really going to hurt that second unit, put even more on Steph, and I don't think even if he has a 30-point game that he can just outgun this Pelicans team on his own.
Right.
So Kings at Hornets, I'll go under 231.5. I mean, I like the Kings to win for sure here. It's a revenge spot for them after they were the only team to lose to the Hornets in the last 13 for Charlotte in bizarre fashion with the Hornets on a back-to-back here. But I'm going to fade the Hornets offense first and foremost. You could also consider just their team total under 111. Kings are on a back-to-back here. I don't think they're going to score a ton. They have been scoring a ton on back-to-backs and giving up a ton. Or sorry, just giving up a ton. They begin smoked on back-to-backs because they played the Clippers twice, Wolves, Magic, who they actually competitive with, and the Pelicans, who just own them. They're just scoring 109 on those back-to-backs. But in general, like their defense is much better on the road. Offense less potent. We saw this all the way last year. Lately, their defense is up to third in defensive rating in their last 5 road games. Very impressive. And this Hornets offense is just crap. Like, I mean, 102 points per game without Gordon Hayward, which is to say without Gordon and LaMelo Ball, who are both, of course, still out tonight. Terry Rozier has been playing out of his mind lately, including a big game against the Kings. 32.5 points per game on a 141 offensive rating. It's just not going to continue. Like, De'Aaron Fox is going to take it on himself to not let this dude outscore him. Which he did in that loss at home, where surprisingly Fox had to bring it. I would look at fading him maybe 26.5 points, but he's just shooting the ball so many damn times. But in general, this is an under spot. I mean, Hornets in that 13-game span where they're scoring just 104.6 per 100 possessions. That's worse than the league by far. 9 of those games have gone under, third slowest pace. Their last home game before they played this weird one against the Bulls where they got murdered by the Bulls' new Twin Towers look. It was 102-95 to Denver, which by the way was on a back-to-back. So I mean they've played Sac pretty tough, 113 defensive rating their last 4 against them, and held them to 43% shooting last time in Sacramento. So one way or another, I think this will be an ugly, choppy game.
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't touch Sacramento with, as I like to say, with your money right now. That even after they did come back and wallop the Pistons after being down by 18 to the Pistons, they came back and won by 21 points, something around there. It was like a 45-point swing. I don't trust them to do anything right now when they play bad teams. The Kings, they are playing down to their competition. De'Aaron Fox looks disinterested. Domantas Sabonis was taking fadeaway 20-footers. Like, what? I was in that Pistons game. Like, could you be any more obvious that you're not taking this seriously? So until they start taking anything seriously against poor teams, really, then I don't really have much to say about the Kings that's positive. And I don't really think De'Aaron Fox is necessarily like to just take over all the time at this point. Like, he's definitely shooting a lot. But his shooting splits are definitely down from last season. I don't know if it's because he's not getting to the basket more. Yeah, I guess it's a little bit fewer shots inside of 5 feet for him. But yeah, there's some stuff with the Kings team. I don't know why Malik Monk doesn't play more. They need a shooting guard. They have a really good one, and yet they don't play him like more than 27 minutes. So I don't really understand what's going on with that team right now. And the Hornets freaking have their number, man. This is one of those weird ones where the Hornets come in and it's just that weird teal on purple, and you like the teal. But let's go ahead and finish things out here with more of a lean than anything, because I don't have Obi's numbers up yet. But Obi Toppin is going to get I think at least 10 points. That's where I'm putting him at. I'm projecting that it's around 9.5, 10.5. So I wrote I would take over 10.5 because that is a little bit higher than 9.5. And I do think you can parlay that with the victory for the Pacers, which you're getting some decent juice for them to beat the Wizards. Because if Tyrese Haliburton was in, this would be a 13.5 point spread, and it's down to 7.5. And quite frankly, I love Tyrese Haliburton, but the way that this team plays and against a team like Washington who can't defend the transition, I don't really think you really need him that bad. I don't think he's worth 7 points in this game. I think they still are capable of blowing this team out. So I'll just, like I said, because it's 7.5, I think it's about minus 380 on the money line for them. So I'm happy to take the money line and add it to Obi's prop whenever you do find it and get it out there. But this is something I'll talk about as well with Bruce Brown. It's like, who gets out in transition versus the Wizards? And if who, not only that, who is your most athletic power forward, who's versatile and can also hit some corner threes? And that would be Obi Toppin 100%. That's where Washington is most vulnerable for sure. I mean, down low, obviously, very vulnerable. Might see Daniel Gafford trying to jump with Obi, so maybe we got some poster opportunities. Not sure if that's a bet on Prize Picks, but I would find that one and see if I can get it, because I do think the transition points will be there for Obi. The points in the paint. 3 games that he's played without Haliburton. One of those games is really useless because they got blown out in the first quarter by the Celtics in Boston. If you remember that game, where I think they lost by like 40 something points, right? Yeah. That was a Haliburton-less game for the Pacers, but Obi still had 17 in that game. He also had another game there without him against. I already lost it. My bad. But the Timberwolves was another good game for him as well. Which was sorry. The Timberwolves was the only bad game for Obi because that's what they do is they stop power forwards. But the other 2 games going well over the 10.5, and I do think there's an opportunity for like a baby ladder to 15 points for Obi if you do see that prop come out around 9.5, 10.5. Probably looking at like plus 220-ish, 210 on your money for a 15 plus bet for him if he does come out around 9.5, 10.5 points. So the way, like I said, this is just a tailor-made matchup for a guy like Obi who has his game. And yeah, it is actually interesting that without Haliburton, not that much slows down like this. I mean, maybe there's slightly fewer assists for this team, but Bruce Brown, him, Nembhard, even Nesmith, everybody just getting it and going. That's going to be the MO. Going to see a lot of points from the Pacers. If you want to throw their team total in there, I'm not scared of it. It's probably actually up now. The total keeps rising to like 253 at this point. So might stay away from that stuff. But Obi and the win is where I'm at with this one.
Yeah, I mean, the ball kind of moves around more without Haliburton. He's the one facilitating getting all those double-digit assists. And now, Toppin asked to play make a little bit more, finish more possessions because he's not just like, wait in the corner and see if your job is to dive when Haliburton penetrates. Like, he's much more involved, part of the offense, and did have 16 against the Wiz. The Pacers actually lost to the Wiz, right? That was the start of their IST hangover. So a little bit of a revenge spot for them to come back and win this time and spread it around a little bit more without Haliburton. Also look at Aaron Nesmith, I think 12.5 points. We have seen that prop come out because him and Nembhard are going to see a lot more usage, I think.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking at Nembhard stuff. If he comes out like 6.5 assists or something that low, I'm probably pouncing on that. But yeah, he'll be more of the traditional point guard. Bruce Brown is like the fast break point guard. It's kind of like having 2 different quarterbacks when you have a running play and a passing play, and he's more of the running play quarterback that's just going to go down and just keep the ball moving in pace. So that is all the time we have for you, though, in this one. Continue to follow along, subscribe to that page, check out the play of props that we also have up for you, as we are wicked hot right now, kind of on one of our heaters there for the play of props. So don't miss out on that. And until we see you next, happy betting.